What's up, kings and queens? It's your boy Dan from Daft Previews, and we are back. Don't need to record on the mobile today, and I've got 4 NBA player props that I've already put down, which I'm going to share with you all today. So if that sounds interesting, let's go.
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to your line from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice and the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.
So before we jump into the bets that I have for you guys, quick recap on the video that we had yesterday. I honestly didn't love too much on the slate. Went one-on-one on the picks that I shared with you guys. Took Luka over his rebounds at plus money. That was easy. Took Isaiah Hartenstein over his points and assists. Man, 5 from 11 from the field when you only take layups. That was a tough beat. Missed a floater with less than 2 minutes left on the clock. That sucked for us. But one-on-one, not the worst day. Does kind of end our winning run, but we're hoping to create a new one. Also, remind about the giveaway that I have for you guys for anyone who signs up with Rebet and makes a $10 deposit. Once we hit 100 referrals on Rebet, I'll be doing a giveaway, $500 US. 5 different people get $100 each. All you've got to do is sign up to Rebet, deposit $10, send me an email with your screenshot, and not only will you enter the giveaway, but I'll give you a month of my VIP picks for free. Now, the best part about Rebet, in my opinion, is for those of you who are stuck on DFS apps, you don't get to bet money lines, spreads, or totals. If you sign up to Rebet, then you got another avenue to bet with. So I encourage you guys to check it out. The link for that is in the video description below. Now let's get to these bets. So we're jumping into props madness. This is the best tool you're going to find if you like betting on NBA player props. All your favorite cappers are using it. I promise you that. If you want to check it out, 7-day free trial in the video description below. Plus, you'll get 25% of your first month if you use the code DAFT when you sign up. So we got 2 games on this slate. Another set of elimination games for this Emirates Cup. Hopefully better than the last 2 that we just saw. That Milwaukee Bucks game was doo-doo. The Thunder game, that one was all right, but I think we expected it to be. We got the Hawks and Knicks. I think it's a great game to bet on. We got the Warriors versus the Rockets. I don't think that one's too bad either. So I am liking this slate a little bit more. So I got 4 bets that I've already put down, and it's probably not going to stop there. So let's talk about this first game. Atlanta Hawks versus the New York Knicks. Josh Hart, Karl Anthony Towns, game time decisions, as well as Trae Young, DeAndre Hunter, and Jalen Johnson. So is Bogdanovic. But I think Jalen Johnson, probably the main one we're looking out for. He's a real difference maker when it comes to the outcome of these games and a lot of the player props. So I don't have any bets on any Atlanta Hawks players just yet. Waiting on that Jalen Johnson news. I could bet on him and tell you guys to bet on him too, but then if he doesn't play, then maybe I've wasted your time. So I've got 2 bets on the Knicks, and then we'll get into the next game. So my first bet here, I'm looking at Jalen Brunson. Now, I've got a pretty good hit rate betting on Jalen Brunson this season, and hopefully that continues in this one. But for Jalen Brunson in this game against the Atlanta Hawks, not looking at his points, not looking at his assists, even though I do like it, I'm betting on Jalen Brunson to go over his 3-pointers made prop. 2.5 3-pointers made for Jalen Brunson. He's hit this in 14 out of 24 games this season. So the hit rate, not necessarily amazing there. So this is not a hit rate play. A lot of this has to do with matchup. So he's up against the Atlanta Hawks. So the Atlanta Hawks, absolutely terrible at defending the pick and roll. They're terrible defending above the break. They're actually dead last in both of those categories. And for Jalen Brunson, that's how he gets paid. That's where he scores his points. 33% of his points scored in the pick and roll. And in terms of shooting zones, 35% of his buckets from above the break this season. So taking a lot more 3-pointers this season, and I love it. Now, using Props Madness, this typical method of betting, you can't do anywhere else. And you can filter out the matchups, which are somewhat similar to this for Jalen Brunson. So if we first look at defending above the break, if we just remove the best 15 teams that defend above the break, we get a better sample size for games. And you can see right there, if we just strictly look at the position on the floor and how he scores his points, he's actually over this in 10 out of 13 games against the teams who don't defend above the break very well, over in 10 out of 13, and almost a 77% hit rate. That also includes his game against the Atlanta Hawks on the 7th of November, where he made 4 3-pointers from 11 attempts. So not only do the Atlanta Hawks are terrible at defending that part of the floor, they're also terrible at defending the pick and roll. They also allow the most 3-point attempts allowed. And I think there's going to be a couple of players from the Knicks who go over the 3-point line today, but I'm trusting Jalen Brunson. He's going to have the highest usage rate. He's going to have the ball in his hands often, and I think he's going to take a lot of 3-pointers. So Over in 10 out of 13, averaging 3.5 3-pointers made. I don't think he's going to be their number one problem. I think the Atlanta Hawks, they're going to have a problem defending Karl Anthony Towns. And I think they're going to let Jalen Brunson operate one-on-one. I think Jalen Brunson's going to find himself wide open at the top of the key for some 3-pointers. And if he continues to shoot it around 40%, I think this is money. So Jalen Brunson over his 3-pointers made prop. That's my first pick in this game. My next one is on Mikal Bridges. Now, Mikal Bridges also has an excellent matchup here. Bridges scoring a lot of his points as a spot-up shooter. He's also coming into this game with great form. He's covered his points prop in 5 straight games now. The line's at 16.5. I am betting the over here. But 5 straight games he's gone over this, so the recent form is fantastic. I love it. His last game against Atlanta, though, wasn't great. One of his worst games in the year. Only scored 10 points, played 39 minutes, and only saw 10 shot attempts, which is quite weird. 2 from 7 from deep, so not overly involved. Whereas I think in this game, it's going to be a little bit different. His volume definitely up as of late. Key part of his rotation. When they matched up earlier in the season, that was like his 6th game as a New York Knick, trying to find himself. And I think he's been found. So playing very well as of late. I do like the matchup here against Atlanta as well. Now, if we use the filters to exclude the top 10 teams at defending spot-up shooters. So the Atlanta Hawks are bottom 10. But if we just exclude the top 10 teams, we get a better sample size of what he's up against today. And if we remove that, he's over this line in 11 out of 16 games, averaging 17.8 points. So that's a 68% hit rate. But if you want to improve things a little bit, you might want to toggle with a home and away filter. This game being played in New York, Madison Square Garden. And at home, check this out. In similar types of matchups, Mikal Bridges at home, he's over this line in every single game. 8 from 8, 21.4 points per game against teams who don't defend spot-up shooters very well. And the Atlanta Hawks are definitely one of them. So looking for Mikal Bridges to continue this run, to make it 9 from 9 at home against teams who don't defend spot-up shooters very well. I like the over here, 16.5 points for Mikal Bridges. Now, some other leans whilst we're on this game. You know I'm all about giving you guys some value. I think Karl Anthony Towns has a great game rebounding. He's been rebounding like a beast as of late. Rebounded very well last time against the Hawks. He had 16 boards. The line's at 12.5 in this one. But he's a game time decision, so not willing to pull the trigger on Cat yet. But if he does play, I think his rebounds are a really good look. Someone else that I'm considering here. I'm actually not considering DeAndre Hunter. So this is a hit rate play. If somebody's betting on them, it's got to be because of hit rate. Because the matchup, it's not necessarily the best here for DeAndre Hunter. If someone's betting on him, it's only because he's been playing well as of late. But some other leans that I do have on this, I think Trae Young points, looking at the over there, that could be a good look. Scored 23 against the Knicks last time. Hasn't been playing his best as of late, but in these cup games, Trae Young's been performing quite well. And then the other play here is Clint Capella, looking at it under in his rebounds line. Line's at 9.5. He has been rebounding very well as of late, but difficult matchup for him defending Karl Anthony Towns, who spends a lot of his time on the perimeter. Might be hard for Clint Capella to get some boards in this one. So they're just a couple of leans that I have. I might bet some of them. We'll see what happens. Pump at the brakes real quick to ask you guys to do me a favor. Like the video if you like what you see so far. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already, because I'm dropping heat just like this every single day. I'm not a guy that gets on here and drops 2 or 3 different plays and says, see you later. Please subscribe. I'm going to give you everything I possibly can. So subscribe to the channel. The heat's coming on a daily basis. I ask that you leave me a comment down below for the algorithm. You can say anything. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't. Tell me how much money you want to win, and we'll see if we can make that happen for you. Say anything. That lets YouTube know to push this video out to more people. And I want to get this out to more people because the goal for me is to try to hit 20,000 subscribers before Christmas. Over the last month, we managed to pick up 5,000 subscribers, so we're growing fast, and I hope to keep that coming. So 20,000 subs by Christmas, there'll be a massive giveaway if we can get there. So I ask that you help the boy out, and let's make it happen. So I got 2 more bets. Let's get into it. So we're jumping into the Warriors versus the Rockets. Now, it feels like these guys have played each other a lot, but they have played each other recently. Andrew Wiggins is a game time decision. So is Alperen Şengün, Steven Adams, Jason Tate, Cam Whitmore as well for Houston. But Houston, a very deep team. I like their team this season, but they are a little bit difficult to bet on, given how many players can get a run and how many people can produce some stats here. So I've got 2 bets that I want to share with you. One of them is an under, so beware. And what we're looking at here is Alperen Şengün. Took the under 20.5 points for Alperen Şengün in this one. I've bet he's under a few times this season, and I'm yet to get one wrong. So hopefully the radar is working here for Alperen Şengün. And the last couple of times I bet on Alperen Şengün has been up against the Clippers. And that's purely because of the matchup and how they play defense. And the Golden State Warriors are very similar to the Clippers. Now, if we look at Alperen Şengün, he scores a lot of his points in the pick and roll as the roll man. He also scores in the restricted area right under the basket. 52% of his points come that way. Pick and roll in the post. This Warriors team, very good defensively this season, but very good, especially at limiting those types of play types. So the Warriors, it's crazy how they've turned their defense around. Top 4 defensive rating, third fewest points in the paint. Like, it's a nightmare matchup for Alperen Şengün. You would assume he does have a size advantage, but that donkey Draymond, he actually still pretty decent these days on the defensive end. So I think the matchup's going to be difficult for him. 20.5 points. He's gone over this in only 8 out of 22 games this season. So the hit rate definitely leaning towards the under here. And then when you factor in that the matchup is difficult as hell, it only gives me more reason to do it. So one thing you can do in Props Madness, like what you can't do anywhere else, is really filter by play type. So if we take a look and we know that the Warriors are one of the best teams at defending the pick and roll, one of the absolute best at minimizing points in the paint and the restricted area. But if we want to get a good sample size, let's just remove the bottom half, right? The bottom 15 teams at defending both of these types of play types and zones. And if you do that in these types of matchups, Alperen Şengün is under this line in every single game. 8 games. And we're talking teams like Dallas, the Warriors, OKC, and the Clippers, right? These are all difficult matchups for Alperen Şengün, and he's struggled in every single one of them, averaging 14.8 points per game. He's played 2 games against the Warriors, scoring 14 and 16 points. It's just a nightmare. The Warriors are small, but they collapse hard. And that's going to force Alperen Şengün to move that ball out. Draymond, an excellent defender at his size. Really liking the under here for Alperen Şengün. Hopefully we can continue to streak. I think it's a tough matchup, but they've got other players who can fill that role and get some buckets for the Rockets. So I don't think it's a game where they necessarily need Şengün to be at his best in order to stay competitive in this one. So Alperen Şengün under 20.5 points is the look that I'm taking. I think if this drops under 19.5, I'd probably stay off it. But at 20.5, odds are close to plus money as I'm talking about it right now. So if you get on late, it might be a 19.5, but by the time you watch this, the 20.5 will still be available. So that's my first bet in this game. My second bet in this game, though, is an over, thankfully. Don't want to bet too many unders. I'm already losing as much hair as is. Check it out. Losing it quickly. But looking at an over here for the cum bucket. And you're probably thinking, what the hell is the cum bucket? It's Jonathan Kuminga. And I'm liking his over 4.5 rebounds today. Now, Jonathan Kuminga recently promoted to the starting lineup. So when I forecast his minutes, I'm thinking he sees at least 25 minutes in this game. So that's the first filter I want to put on. Jonathan Kuminga playing at least 25 minutes. Now, when he plays at least 25 minutes, he's over this line in 8 out of 12 games this season, averaging 4.9 rebounds per game. Included in that sample size is 2 games against the Houston Rockets, 6 and 7 rebounds. We only need 5 rebounds to cash this. If you look at defensively, I think the Warriors are probably going to play small quite a bit. And if they play small, Jonathan Kuminga is going to find himself defending Jabari Smith Jr. Jabari Smith Jr., typically just a spot-up shooter from the corner, meaning there's going to be a lot of weak side rebounds available for Jonathan Kuminga, uncontested. And I've seen him get a ton of rebounds that way. If the Warriors play big, whether they have Trace Jackson Davis or Kevon Looney out there with Draymond, Jonathan Kuminga, more than capable of slowing down Jalen Green. He's picked him up a few times and he's defended him extremely well. Jalen Green, not overly active when he's off the ball, and when shots go up, there is no way in hell that guy's going to crash some rebounds. So Jonathan Kuminga, again, can crash the boards from the top. On the offensive side of the ball, when the Houston Rockets switch, because they tend to switch a lot on defense, whenever Jonathan Kuminga has Fred VanVleet on him, he's going to take his ass straight into the paint. I've seen it many times before, and he goes into the paint not necessarily looking for the ball, but puts himself in great offensive rebounding position. He's done it in both games so far. If Fred VanVleet ends up switching onto him, he's going to take him straight into the paint. The Warriors are going to put us some shots, and Kuminga's always going to be there for some offensive boards. Now, we only need 5. He does tip the rebounds a lot, and those are really easy rebounds. Doesn't even have to secure them. So I do like Jonathan Kuminga here. Should get some extra minutes, extra run time. The matchup is fantastic. The Warriors are not great on the boards. He's not leaking out in transition. He's actually supporting the rebounds every single time. So to get 5, Jonathan Kuminga, just asking for you to do what you have been doing against the Rockets all season. 6 and 7 boards. We just need the 5 of them. Let's go, JK, the cum bucket. Now, if it's your first time hearing the word cum bucket, let me know in the comment section below, because I think I heard this on his rookie season and I was like, damn, that is a nickname. And I'm not sure if it's stuck, but I haven't forgotten about it. So Jonathan Kuminga liking his over in rebounds. Now, what are some other looks I had in this game? One that I'm obviously very close to is Fred VanVleet, looking at an under for his points and assists. Matchup is disgusting for him. Someone who has played very well against the Warriors this season, though, is Amen Thompson. Looking at his points, looking at his rebounds, he's done a very good job doing both of those things. Tyree Eason's been a weapon off the bench for them as well against the Warriors, so that could be a good look. Buddy Hield, it looks like he's going to be in the starting lineup today, which is quite strange. I thought they'd run with Podziemski because of his defensive abilities, but interesting to see what happens with those two. Who gets the lion's share of the minutes, who closes the game. Another key call out is Steph Curry. So Steph Curry didn't play in any of the games against Houston Rockets this season. His matchup honestly isn't too bad in this one, but he hasn't been hitting the number very well on the year. But this is a very big and important game, so we could see the best of Steph Curry come out to play. And over on his points, I wouldn't hate that. But I do like the two games that are on this slate. Hawks, Knicks. I think there's going to be a couple of good players to bet on once we know whether Jalen Johnson is playing. And this Warriors and Rockets team, both teams somewhat deep, but you also know who can do what at a high level. I think defensively, both teams show up there, and I think it's going to be a very good and entertaining game. It might be a grind, but unless you're a basketball purist like me, you're probably not going to like it as much, but I love that type of shit anyway. So I've got no extras to give you. It is very late as I record this. So I just want to edit it. I want to get it out to you guys. Let's start a brand new win streak. Let me know in the comment section what your thoughts are. Throw your support my way. Be sure to get involved with the rebet giveaway. I think we just need another 50 signups. And if we can do that before Christmas, even better, and get that giveaway out for all of you guys. But I appreciate y'all if you made it this far into the channel. I'll be sure to catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to your line from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice on the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.